Welcome, all family, to another episode of the Moaa Member Chat. In today's episode, we have a very special guest, Dr. Renae Myles Payne, the Senior Associate AD for Administration and the Chief Diversity Officer at the University of Miami, the U. Dr. Payne, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Michael, how are you today?
I'm doing good. The sun is shining. I think the spring has finally blessed us with its presence here in the Midwest. So I know down south, you always get sunshine for the most part.
Yeah, it's been sun shining here. You know, this is suntan you, as they used to call it. So we're good.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely thank you for joining us in this episode. And typically we have our Moaa members go through their journey, their experience. But for our stars, such as yourself, I want to take a moment for you to just kind of reflect on your journey and maybe speak on some things that were special to you or something that pretty much stands out within your journey.
Yeah, Michael, so I will say, 22, 23, almost 23-year journey of being in college athletics has had its ups and downs, have had its highs and lows. But all in all, I think the best thing about what we do in this profession is we get a chance to have direct impact on the lives of students and our colleagues as well. We focus a lot on the student athletes, which is what our main jobs are. But we also have to remember that we also impact other colleagues around us and come into contact with them, and things that we do in our profession and our jobs helps inspire others, and they do the same for us. So I would say the journey has been wonderful over 22, 23 years. Student athletes have been impacted. I've been inspired by student athletes as well as other colleagues. And I want to just continue to be one of the I would say, guardrails in this profession to continue to help people be, as great as they can be.
You kind of spoke on it briefly about the connection with the student athletes. Would you say that's the most enjoyable part about being involved in college administration?
I think it is, because again, you get to see these young, impressionable, they technically are adults when they come to you, but they're not, as the scientific statement will say, their frontal lobe has not developed yet. And so you are still helping them learn to make the best decisions for themselves, to do the right things, and understanding that they're still learning. College is the place where they're getting to know who they were. And what I always help staff to understand is put yourself in their shoes. Where were you and what were you thinking and doing at this time when you were in college? And know that it's similar. It has a lot has changed, but a whole lot hasn't. And so I always put myself back when I was 18, 19, running track, skipping class, not doing things the right way all the time, making, so sometimes I made a good decision, sometimes I didn't, because I was learning who I was and who I was going to become. And then there were people along the way who are people like me now, who are along the way, who were being that gentle guide, or some people needed to be a strong guide, but they helped form me and helped me become the person that I am today. So always put yourself back in that time frame when those student athletes were, where you were, and then you can kind of help lead them a little bit better and probably a little bit more gentler too.
Absolutely. Now, you also spoke on the inspiration that you may receive from administrators, or inspiration that you may give to a fellow administrator, excuse me. So let's speak on Moaa. How did you get started with Moaa? Why do you continue to do everything involved with the Moaa, from your work as the chair of the symposium committee? Just kind of speak on that.
You know what? This is going to be a real honest, I would say, depiction of the relationship I've had with Moaa. And it started out really ambitious. and really want to do big things. I saw the organization where it was headed, and I thought I could help generate, just the impact of what they were going to do, and I wanted to be a part of it. And so I got connected with Moaa early, but then also got my bubble burst a little later in the game, because as now you have those folks that's in the profession who I would say the veterans can see are going to come up the pipe, and they're going to be great, and they're going to be great leaders, but their ambition may be too great and try to overcome what is happening on the ground floor. And so I got beat back a little bit and told okay, stay on the sideline and wait your turn. And I didn't like that. So I stepped away from Moaa and said, you know what, that's that direction. I'm going to go in this other direction. And then there were colleagues within Moaa and within the profession and of itself said, it's time for you to come back. It's time for you to, get your hands dirty in some things that are happening. I was, denied being on the board 3 times. So when people are applying for the board or wanting even to be a part of the leadership of Moaa, it's one of those things where I have a story about that. You want to hear it? Here it go. Because it's real, but what it also tells you that is redemption is possible. And so you can always return, and you can always become even more significant to the organization when if you stay the course. And I could have stayed the course. I'm probably a bull in the china shop type of person. So I took my own path, but the path still led me back to a core reason why Moaa was created, and that was to uplift people of color in this profession, and to make us the shining lights that we are in this profession. So I got back to Moaa and have maintained membership for all these years, and now definitely a part of the board and a part of the executive leadership of the organization. And it was people like your Stan Johnsons, and one person in particular, Alfreda Goff, who I put on a pedestal with Moaa, who saw something in me specifically, and basically passed the mantle to me for the symposium, handpicked. And that in and of itself said that even my departure away, she was still watching me. And she was still saying that she still has what it takes. And when it's time, we know where we're going to move and who can take care of this symposium. And so I'm blessed to have people like that in the organization that continue to instill that in me.
Speaking on the symposium, a lot goes into the behind the scenes planning. Can you kind of speak to or give some insight to how do we start in the beginning of the academic year, and then as we get to the end of the academic year, we have this great program? Can you kind of speak to how the planning goes for a symposium and let our members know that it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of planning, and it's a little more difficult sometimes than it probably seems for the member that's actually attending all the sessions?
Absolutely. Well, the folks on the committee will know that the discussion starts early, and the discussion starts with one question: what are our people talking about? Mm-hmm. That's it. That's how the planning of the symposium truly every year comes together. What are our members talking about? What are the true hot topics that we need to go a bit deeper and have a full-blown session about with industry experts who can speak to it, and who are those industry experts? And so the planning starts there, and through the months we meet And we then start formalizing what those topics are. What are those topics titles? What are those session descriptions? Who are the speakers we're going after? These 3 speakers have denied us. Now, who else is on our list? And so it's a roundabout deal that goes on and on and on until you get to the finality of what we present in June of each year. And that has pretty much been the process since the founding of the symposium. The symposium is 10 or 11 years old, I think, this year. It did not immediately start when Moaa began 20 years ago. So we've evolved we have the millennials on the group. We have the folks like me, the old heads who are like, well, let's think about this. And then, we have the group in the middle who are, wanting to jump out there and do something, spectacular and fantastic, but also understanding there are some budget constraints. There are some things that we won't be able to do because of that. So I think from the standpoint of planning it from nuts to bolts, it begins with that just one question. What are our members talking about? And then we end in June with something that people actually enjoy.
Absolutely.
Because it was made by the members. It came from the members. Yeah, it wasn't Renae's idea. It was, I'm a member, and so yes, I have input, but there are 12 other people on the symposium committee, and they bring their input and their insight into what it should be. And so it definitely comes from the membership.
Yeah, I definitely can speak to being involved in some of the planning, having served on the symposium committee, and I was kind of blown away at the amount of work it does take, especially when you have to coordinate with so many different administrators from all across the country. There's a lot that goes involved in it. It's one of those surreal moments after my first turn being involved in the planning and then having the chance to actually go to the symposium. It was pretty cool to kind of sit back and kind of see the fruits of your labor and see how everyone that's at the symposium enjoys it. So it's one of those kind of, you just pat yourself on the back and just kind of take it all in, and you just smile to yourself.
You just smile, exactly. Because you can recall all of the agonizing and the conversations we've had, and I'm like, no, I don't like that. And you're like, yes, we should do this. And and you get all the people on the same page to move into one direction, and that's what we've done for the last 10 years. When Alfreda Goff had it, she did it the same way, and I just had great shoes to fill, but also a great teacher.
Absolutely. Interesting story. I was taken back also when I met Dr. Goff, because I didn't realize, obviously, of the history that she has within administration. I was introduced to the Goffs through her son, Anton. Okay. He was my academic advisor at Michigan State when I was a student athlete. And so I was taken back. I was like,
okay.
Hold on.
They go together.
Yeah. And then I see him and like, that's his mother. I said, wow. It was a moment for me that it just kind of was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And as a young administrator, awesome. It was something, just one of those, moments that I will always remember, meeting both of them at the symposium. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty awesome group.
Yes. So stepping away from administration, if you weren't involved in college athletics and administration, what would your career path be?
I think I would be definitely doing something in law, maybe an attorney, maybe law enforcement, FBI, Secret Service, something of that nature. Definitely have always had a interest in those types of professions. So I think something in that space.
And why is that? Why would you?
It's the solving of a problem. It's the challenge of probably tracking down, America's Most Wanted, and me being and me being focused in on, on getting that joker, So I like challenges. I like being able to solve the riddle, the puzzle, putting the pieces together, and creating this beautiful, patchwork of tapestry or puzzle or whatever the picture is. But I like those pieces. So even though the pieces are not always together, I'm responsible with pulling them together. And so that in law enforcement, or being an attorney, or coming across a law, a regulation that you didn't know that could pop open your case or something, that it's the studying of what comes out of you winning a case or finding a criminal or something of that nature that inspires me.
Gotcha. So I take it you are probably a fan of TV series or movies within that realm of crime and
absolutely
suspense. Can you give us some of your favorite? Law and Order. There you go.
That's it. I mean, I watch all the reruns on the Labor Day weekend is on. I'm watching every last one of them. Just sitting right there. I've seen them about 15 times, but I will still watch them again. So any of those type shows, I'm all in.
Yeah, Law and Order is definitely one of my favorites. It's amazing at how many different variations they have, and they're all very good.
All of them good. All of them good. Now, which one you like the most?
SVU. Yeah, I would say probably SVU, I like and maybe Criminal Intent.
Okay, Criminal Intent. I really like Criminal Intent. But then I would definitely say high second is the regular one, because Ice-T was always like that dude. I loved his character, so yeah, he was just that dude.
Yeah, when Ice-T became a regular on the show, it definitely drew me to the series more. But it was interesting. It was because we were introduced as Ice-T as the rapper, and how his career has evolved as an actor has been something that has been pretty cool to witness. And you probably would think of him just as an actor now before you would think of him. Oh yeah, he came into the game as a rapper. As
a rapper, absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly how you described it, exactly how I was saying. I'm like, no, he was a rapper. And then he started acting. He was like, wait, he good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good.
Now, you spoke about your previous experience as a student athlete when we first started the conversation. Let's stay on track and field. Who's your favorite track and field athlete, or favorite athletes if you have some?
Definitely favorite track and field athlete is Jackie Joyner Kersey. She ran track at the high school. My mom and all of them went to high school together. My mom wasn't an athlete, but they were all in school together in East St. Louis, Missouri. And if you ever heard of East St. Louis, that's East Boogie. And it's one of those locations where not a whole lot of good, they say, will come out of East St. Louis, and so, but you had the Joyners that came out of East St. Louis, and so I would definitely say that she was one of my favorite. And I tried to pattern myself after her and stuff like that, and run like I wasn't that great though, but I did enough to do what I needed to do to remain on the team. I said that way. So yeah, but Jackie Joyner Kersey, I would say, is my favorite, all-time favorite.
Gotcha. Now, sticking in that same vein, in terms of sports figures or anyone that's famous, if you had a chance to meet them, someone that's currently here or someone that has transitioned and that is no longer with us, is there someone that if you had your chance, will they be able to just kind of have a conversation or sit down, lunch or a dinner conversation? Who would that person be?
Anybody. I'm gonna say sports figure. I would say Arthur Ashe. The quiet humility that he had, but then the big voice that he had, participating in that sport of tennis, who we still know today is not as diverse and not always as welcoming to people who don't look like most of the people who run it. So, but he was a giant, and a lot of athletes forget him and don't remember how much he did, not just from an athletic standpoint, but also from the fight for HIV/AIDS and awareness and things of that nature. He just became a high level humanitarian in the work that he did. And so, yeah, Arthur Ashe is, I don't have that true quiet spirit like he did, but it's very admirable. And would love to just talk to him about how he dealt with certain situations that made him, when he did have to speak up, what did people say and how did they react?
Gotcha. Now, this is a great segue in terms of historical figures. As you all know, that this month is Women's History Month. We just came out of Black History Month. Can you speak on what does Women's History Month mean to you?
You know what? We're getting T-shirts in the athletic department here at the University of Miami for the women in athletics, and we got two quotes that we're using, and these two quotes, people can, the women can choose which shirt they want, but these two quotes really sum up, I think, what women's history means to me. And my favorite quote is, "Well-behaved women rarely make history." And the second quote is, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." Those two. So the last one by Eleanor Roosevelt, and the second one is by Laurel Thatcher Ulrich. And the first one just sums me up, because I know that I kind of go against the grain, and in doing that, I most likely will make some history. And history is not something big all the time. History is whatever you do small, even in your office, that changes the trajectory of things in your space, on your hallway, whatever that is, that becomes history because it happened today. And then tomorrow it becomes history, right? It's the next day. And then no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So you have to allow people to talk to you a certain way. And if you allow that, then you are giving your consent. So it's not just they are doing this to me, you also are allowing some things to happen. And so both of those quotes to me signify strength. And so Women's History Month for me means strength. And that whatever you do today will become history, good or bad, it will become history. So just determine what side you want to be on.
You have some historical moments throughout your career, one of which being named the 2019 NCAA Division I Administrator of the Year from the Women's Leaders in College Sports. Can you speak to that acknowledgement from your peers, and how does that feel?
It was a really, really awesome moment. You don't nominate yourself for these types of honors and awards. So to know that there were peers around the country who felt that I had done that level of work and then I could have that type of recognition at that point in my career was pretty awesome. And most of them all know I don't do this for trophies, in awards. I walked on for track, and got a, little taste of money. I walked on and I didn't get any trophies. I didn't win any true awards. I did it because I loved what I was doing and I liked the camaraderie and the team and the teammates and all of that stuff. And so I don't do this stuff in athletics itself for the awards. I love the profession. I study it and I love it. And so if I get an award for it, then great and wonderful. But I'm not working towards that. I'm working toward changing lives. And you know for a fact that you don't get a lot of trophies from people when you help change and impact their life, because you don't always know when that happens until you get that thank you later on or something like that. But so it was a humbling experience. I was grateful and it was wonderful. I was changing jobs at the time that I got, I received the honor, and Women Leaders has done a lot also for women in the profession to help them grow. So definitely was very appreciative of that.
Definitely. So what are you currently working on? I know you're currently in the thick of it. The symposium is approaching quicker than we know, but besides obviously planning for this year's symposium, is there anything that you're currently working on at the institution level or something that in the community that you want to speak on?
Yeah, so I mean, we're doing a lot, as you probably know, in the space of diversity and inclusion being heightened at this time. I mean, I've been working in that space specifically in athletics since about 2011. So this wasn't new to me. The designation, of course, from the NCAA was new. And then the increase in knowledge and people wanting to know what was happening and how to get into this profession became more apparent. And so I've been working a lot. I would say I've talked with and counseled maybe 37 different schools to how to move in this space, how to get started, what types of questions to start asking and answering, and just basically giving people a baseline understanding of what they needed to do to engage, educate people in their space. Here at Miami, we wanted to, do our best to eliminate ignorance, eliminate people who are not sure about diversity and inclusion and why it's necessary for us to talk about it. We wanted to make sure that we did those things early on. And so creating programming within the department for the coaches and staff has been, I would say, a big chunk of that work. But also across the whole athletic sphere, and the work that we've done with Lead One and helping with the actionable recommendations from the committee to increase diversity and inclusion within the athletic departments. So I would say that probably would be a number one item on the list, outside of things you said we're doing with the symposium and, the things that I'm doing in my job as well, because I serve in a lot of roles on campus as well in that space. And so it's been pretty eye-opening to some of the conversations that that you have when you hear staff for the first time knowing when Black people came to the country. It's just never been talked about. It was never something that they needed to understand and know. So they didn't even know the significance of what we meant when we said 400 years. But now they do. The staff that we have here at the University of Miami do. They understand what that means now, and they can catalog the years and what occurred in the lifespan of people of color, specifically African Americans. So it's been hard. It's been tiring, but it's a necessary work that has to be done. And I'm glad we get to do it, because we weren't talking about it before. And now we are.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to have those conversations. They need to be fluent. It's definitely going to be mentally taxing, but we are in it for the long haul because it's continuous. It's not a one size fit all or a cure all in terms of just one solution. It's a very nuanced subject matter, and we definitely appreciate the fact that the conversations are becoming more broad, but we recognize that there's work to be done, and hopefully everyone is leading with their heart and being mindful of just wanting to be a part of the solution.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're coming up on the end of our episode, and it is our Moaa Member Minute. So it's a portion of the show where our Moaa member gets a chance to give any words of encouragement from a professional or from a personal perspective. So without further ado, Dr. Myles Payne, it is your Moaa Member Minute.
Yeah, so I just want to encourage everyone to, be the best that you can be. One of my mentors would say, nobody can beat you being you. And Moaa needs you. All the talent that you have, all of the thoughts, ideas that you have, Moaa needs you. So make sure that you're a member of Moaa. Make sure you join and become a part of the committees that we have and continue to make us great.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So we definitely want to thank you again for sitting down with us. And I'm your host, Michael Bazemore. And as always, Moaa family, stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned.